Hello guys, Otaku Man here, and this is a new fanfiction that I'm gonna read it to you all. This is fanfiction. This fanfiction name is Naruto, My Hunting System. Chapter 1. Trapped in a genjutsu. In a lake, Nawaki was lying in amazement. His gaze was straight, looking right at the blue sky and trees. Nawaki, Nawaki, Nawaki. Nawaki turned around at the sound of a female voice calling him out. Hana. To his surprise, it wasn't Hana, but a completely unknown voice. She was a very beautiful, fair-skinned woman with medium height, with brown eyes and straight blonde hair. Her hair was tied in a high ponytail. Who is it? The moment he had doubt in his mind, Naoki felt a sharp pain in his head. Oh! The pain was so strong that it made him pass out. The last thing he remembered was the voice. The same woman who spoke earlier. Nawaki, don't do this to me. The young woman's worried tone somehow made him feel tightness in his chest. He had transmigrated. That's what he thought as he regained consciousness with the memories which shouldn't belong to him. In the memories, he knew that he was Nawaki Senju, grandson of the Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage of Konohagakure. He was famous during his lifetime as the god of shinobi. His unparalleled ninja talent, despite this, Hashirama Senju only wanted peace, and that to end as he found Konoha with his childhood friend rival Madara Uchiha. Although he was not able to achieve peace during his lifetime, his legacy lives on. A good example is the blood. A good example is the body that he transfigured into. In the memories, he discovered that Naoki Senju dreamed of becoming Hokage and continues the legacy with that his grandfather built. Hard to believe, but there was such thing as power beyond Naoki's comprehension. What surprised him the most that he didn't transgate into just anyone's body, but someone with two most powerful bloodline, Uzumaki and Senju. Incidentally, now he had managed to see Nawaki Senju's memories. He had discovered that beautiful young woman named from before was actually his older sister. An older sister, how honest this was hard to believe this. As understanding as he may be, many things didn't believe they were possible in the current world he had transmigrated into. Thinking about his past life, he showed no attachment. If I had to say who else he was going to miss, it would be his dear, adorable grandmother, Hannah. Living a life without many regret, having a new chance to live another life. He necessarily wanted to go back to his previous life, even because the cause of his death was natural case. In this life, I will be able to walk a path I never walked. He thought of him defeating countless enemies, leading his allies toward glory wasn't a bad feeling at all. Not anyone could be powerful ninja all through. He had a good family background, living in a time of war. He wasn't careful. If he isn't careful, he's gonna die very young. As he already imagined, as much as Naoki Senju was a privileged, he was still far from being a powerful ninja. Although his current strength, he could easily win many world medal in his previous life with the current body. Strength he currently possesses is far from strong enough for the ninja world. His strength was most chunin. Aside from the practice, he wasn't even a genin yet. The lower rank of a ninja. Reality always slaps you hard in the face if you don't work hard. Is there a need for talent? Of course, Nawaki wasn't displeased with the current identity. He was quite young but consideringly handsome. She had short light brown hair and grey-green eyes, with a heavy flush in her cheek. Furthermore, he had a beautiful older sister. That kind of life wasn't bad, was it? His previous life had already passed, living another life good enough. As for whether he could become powerful ninja, he believed that With the effort of not going to stop from growing, he could have a good chance of leaving his name in history. Even being able to fulfill his dream of the former wielder of the body being Hokage. The problem was, there had been 3 years since the ninja was started, and he had no idea how long it would go on. When he graduated from the academy at the age of 12, he would probably sent to the wartime. 1 year. It wasn't long. If he doesn't get stronger in 1 year time, he has to strengthen at the academy. The chances of dying are high. Opening tired eye. He was with the goggly eyes, as hard to see his older sister lying on her stomach with her eye closed. Not wanting to wake her up, as he had no idea how long it has been taking care of him to the point of such sleep, he closed his eyes. Sleep, sleep. After organizing all the information, Frederick hit him. This sudden transportation to his body, transportation surprised him a little. After digesting the memories, his mind was tired. He could think of the detail tomorrow. And now he opened his eyes. He saw the sky was blue and clear. Sunlight shone warmly at his face, making him squint in comfort. However, he could smell gas mixed with earth, which shook his spirit. The fresh air really made feel people good. However, at the moment he could not enjoy the pleasant weather. Wasn't I lying on the bed? What the hell is this? Why was he lying on the ground, looking at the sky? Naku quickly looked around to say he was stunned was an understatement. He was lying in a grassy field. Fresh grass still had the morning dew as the wind blew. Grassy plain flowed like a wave. The view was good, but why was he here? Have I transmigrated again? He was already kind of resigned to the fact that the danger he was in, despite being in a planet or in constant war. He was still enough with the world that he had such beautiful and adorable older sister who adored him. The possibility that it was a dream crossed his mind, but when he picked himself up, useless, he somehow managed to hurt himself in a dream. The pain felt real, maybe some kind of genjutsu. He couldn't deny that he had that possibility. However, with his sister around, she being a jonin, it would easy for him being end up in anime genjutsu. Being in the Senju compound. He stopped thinking when he suddenly heard a rustle sound behind him. The sound got louder and louder. Naoki quickly turned around. A rabbit. Naoki along with the eyebrows. To say he wasn't revealed was a lie. A sigh of relief came out of his mouth. That was also when he noticed that his belly that rumbled with hunger. As he looked in his hand, at the same time he did his belly touching action. He realized, even though he had somehow mm, somehow fallen into a genjutsu, it was apparently the same body that he possessed from Naoki Senju. Worth a try, he muttered as his mind, without looking away from the white rabbit, quickly through passage with his mind. Hyper hypothesis. He considered that he had somehow ended up in a rabbit summoning site. He didn't know if there was such a place, but the white rabbit was usually strange from being almost size of a full-grown Inuzuka clan dog. The white rabbit approximately 1 meter tall. That couldn't be ordinary. Now, how strong is this rabbit? Unsure of how much force to use. After all, he didn't want to end up spoiling the food. He needed to determine how much force to use, but whatever it is, he didn't have any ninja tool with him. Or use ninjutsu, or else the moment the huge rabbit seemed to have noticed something. Its long ear picked up the surveillance as he suddenly looked around. Its blood-red eyes, though it was looked up the chewing the weed in his mouth. The human and the rabbit stared at each other for a long time. However, when he saw the cute little mouth open, reveal a row of shiny white teeth, it was a little scary. Definitely not a normal rabbit. The bunny was very cute, but why was his teeth was so sharp? When Nawaki sensed the white rabbit nervous intent, he subconsciously made a seal with his hand. As for which jutsu to use, he knew his previous owner of the body inherited the memory only to learn wind release. Nawaki thought that it might be enough to deal with the white rabbit. After kneading chakra in his stomach, his eyes, the wind style, great breach. The instant as he flashes, saying the two finger cross in his mouth, he expelled it in front of a gust of wind. Third, the huge rabbit was hit and flew away. There was a third. The giant rabbit landed a few feet away. Its brain shattered to pieces, invariably died. That that Naoki made a victorious gesture with his left hand. The fact that he killed the white rabbit not was he was very happy, but the fact that he was able to use wind to attack. This confirmed the same thing he had doubt about. The first it was also the first time he had used such thing, despite knowing he was possibly capable of doing it. It was totally a different feeling to do it himself. Then, remembering the memories of the body of the former owner, in the strides, Nawaki approached the white rabbit, what was left of it, but stopped walking when the phenomenon happened. At the moment, the rabbit body suddenly turned to dust, leaving only two red orbs, size of cherries. The orb emit faint glow, making them stand out from the ash. Naoki's eyes seemed to be playing with him as he blinked and rubbed his eyes, but there wasn't anything left from the rabbit. Killing the rabbit turned into something different. Despite not being the habit of playing games, he knew at least the basics, which made Naoki think the type of event he experienced was very similar. After all, I'm really stuck in a genjutsu. This is some kind of joke, although he didn't understand why someone would put him in through genjutsu. Other than that, he couldn't think of anything else at that moment. The towel dropped. Now he came out of his reversaries and approached the orb light with his hand. When he picked it up, he didn't feel the weight but the sensation of the warmth just to get in his hand. Before he could to get a good look at the two orbs, suddenly they disappeared right before his eyes. Naoki blinked as he felt dizzy again. Did everything happen to be so weird? Those two orbs appeared to be some kind of treasure, although I didn't know the value. But they disappear like that. Worse still, at that moment, blue, black, and three white rabbit, each the same size of one, had killed, appeared in the grass before him. They were quickly running toward him in a frenzy. There were also seemed to be a rustle of grass behind him. Nawaki's face frozen as he looked back. Another three rabbit at the same size, this time both grey, coming toward eight, its red eyes glowing fiercely as they approached. To escape, to be honest, he wasn't sure what to choose. What what to do. Despite having easily to kill one of these rabbits before, it was 1v1, but it was not 1v1, it was now 1v8. There was no guarantee that if the attack would be come out unscathed. He didn't want to know how strong the offensive power of this little monster bunnies was. Screw this. When he practically surrounded by the eight rabbit, gave the chance to release the wind release. He took the aim at the large group and intended to fight taijutsu with the rest. Wind style, great breach, shout out. A strange voice emitted from the rabbit's mouth as he released gust of wind toward the five rabbit. Not wanting to see the damage done, he quickly turned around, prepared to attack and his chakra coated hand. Boom! At that time, he turned around, an explosion shouted. Without looking back, He lunged forward with closed fist. Bang! The blow landed precisely at the head of the giant bunny. Came out next was a head spi- spinting as a like watermelon, spreading brain snot everywhere, turning into grey, leaving behind two orbs. Replacement. A log of wood was sent far away in a place upon receiving Grey Rabbit's head. Another was straight past like a mad bull, but didn't take him long to turn around to find his whereabouts. At that time, the other two Grey Rabbits turned toward him as the two of the five rabbits survived, hopping at the high speed toward him. Despite his heart pounding his chest, he didn't want it to that bad feeling. After kill one of the grey rabbit with his bare hands so easily, he felt more confident despite having a face of a having to face another of the four rabbit die. Another pink wheel style kick. He spun around as his hand on the floor. It was so fast that instead of hitting them once each other, he ended up hitting them twice before, keeping all the four rabbit away. Thud thud thud. Getting back on his feet, Nawaki went to collect the orbs. He still had hope that some of them wouldn't disappear. After catching four, going to the rabbit still haven't disappeared. His surprise only three of his turned to ashes and leaving the orbs behind while the other was trying to stay upright. Before delivering the cup the grace, he wanted to grab the other orbs before it ended up disappearing in his hand. Damn it. Angrily as he ran toward the grey rabbit, which was now in all four. Whoosh. However, before he could get close enough, the sound of wind blew, cut every similar sound. Blood? Quite a silly question you ask. His cheek was cut. The same instant as he took his hand away, blood gushed out. There was a very sharp pain before it vanished into darkness and dimmed the light room open as he gasped heavily. Fear could only be seen in his eyes as he reached for his neck. No longer has the cut. What the hell is going on? His light brown hair and pajamas, possibly of his sister or one of the maids in the complex, had changed him for drenched a cold sweat. A moment later, Nawaki regained his senses. His eye looked at the familiar surrounding with confusion. What is the situation? Nawaki took a deep breath as he let out a sigh. Did he just died? The first time he died, it wasn't as painful as it was now. Honestly, he didn't expect it to experience death so soon again. I am back at the Senju complex. Noticing the absence of his older sister, he thought back to the last memory before he died. It was something that made out of wind that killed me. Yes, as it was too fast. He couldn't sense what caused his death, but at least he could feel the fluctuation that cut his neck. A wind ninja, perhaps. Just as he was thinking, his eyes darted as he suddenly felt some incontinent thing out of his brain. He quickly sat cross-legged as a concern. A moment later, Nawaki found a small three-dimensional space in his mind. There were 16 red spears floating in space. Aren't these the red orb that came from the huge white rabbit? Nawaki stared at the floating orbs in amazement. At his at this, his confusion increased. He thought of something that a small orb disappeared from the dimension appeared in his hand. It was like a strange space. They were weightless but warm. Nawaki looked at the light as his eyes sparkled. What the hell is this? It was also that he got the feeling that he should just eat those orbs as he had startled when he almost did, bringing harmful red orbs toward his mouth. It was also when he shared the bedroom door open, but out of a fight. Naoki did what he wanted to avoid. He pulled the orbs to his mouth, and a swallowing sound echoed. The faint red light turned into the stream, melted into his body. It was like flame burning his body. Naoki's skin turned red, Walking out of the door, wrapped in a white towel, Tsunade's eyes showed happiness when he see Naoki awake. However, she was soon allowed to see Naoki's skin in red tone. Naoki, she ran toward him, not caring about anything else. Sis. Naoki's voice barely coming out. So much energy was spreading through his body before the 16 red orb. It was if he wanted to burn his body from inside. Don't worry, I'll help you, Sunada said in a nervous tone, but the most controlled she could manage. The moment it made Naoki turn around to face her when he placed both his hands on his back. How's this possible? Tsunade's voice was quite alarming as she realized the phenomenon that was happening in her little brother's body. She even noticed a towel drop and continued to chant her chakra in Naoki's back. Although he didn't understand what happened, Naoki was stunned as he realized this energy was feeding gasp in his body by nature, of course. He wasn't having a quiet time because his big sister's support, which was helping to circulate the energy, nourishing his body. He wouldn't be surprised to explode from excess energy seriously. What did he sp- what did that what he did was practically suicide. This is amazing. His skin being refined and more nourished nourished to the point that being feel like a snake. Letting her thought wander for a moment, image of a Orochimaru popped in her mind. Soon as she shook her head, continued helping her little brother. The dead skin re- re- recede and his skin becoming tighter. The cell were renewed and his skin became more alive. It was giving a faint glow. Almost 2 hours later, Nawaki opened his eyes as he had excited look on his face. Concentrate, don't be happy yet, right? Without even needing to speak twice, Nawaki did as Tsunade told him to. Nearly 1 hour later, Nawaki felt his skin getting too tight. Each skin cell gave off a faint glow. His flesh and blood was completely different from before. Not knowing this time, he felt it was still far from over, and honestly, he didn't want it to end as soon. The constant feeling of getting stronger soon hypnotized Nawaki. Another hour passed. Tsunade wasn't just helping him flow the energy from the orbs to his skin, but toward his blood and muscles. This time, he had come into he had come in into slight stabbing pain, which sensation made him frown. Naoki didn't move and continued to feel pain, too fair. He wasn't worried about his older sister who wasn't helping him all the time. He could be easily, which made him grit his teeth even harder. This time had passed. The sky outside began to tighten. The bird started to sing. Nawaki opened his eyes as he coughed. At the moment, Tsunade collapsed onto his back. Startled, Nawaki turned around to take a surprise to see a dear sister was the same, completely naked. Shaking his head as he tempted by the sight of a beautiful older sister, the most gorgeous, full breast that he ever seen in entire life. In entire two lives with the highest rosy peak. After all, she had done it for him. Nog had gotten CS controlling his carnal desire and intending to help his older sister leap, but he stopped in mid-air. The smell of foul almost made him wanted to throw up. In a weak voice, Sonade said, "Go to the bathroom. You need to get rid of all that dirt." Sis, Naoki looked at her weak vulnerable state. He felt the heat and worry at the same time. After hesitating for a moment, he says in firm tones, "Sis, I'll wash you, okay?" He. Tsunade laughed a little. As if she found it funny, her cute little dear brother wanted to act strong in front of her. Well, she had to admit what he had done through the last few hours wasn't something anyone could go through without passing out, right? Serious, he said since he couldn't believe she accepted so easily. Ha ha ha, laughing harder. Boy, you're still a kid, don't forget that I bathed you before you change your clothes. Now can you miss Nakiri misunderstood. He understood very well that she only saw him as a child, just like a little brother. That's enough for him. That's enough for now. He didn't think that much to his surprise when he stood in front of Tsunade. He revealed that he had 5 times more strength than he had before. His He didn't even feel tired. It was incredible effect orbs had on him. I knew it those orbs were a good thing Naoki saw. If he had the opportunity to get more, he would give some kind of some to his beloved older sister who was had helped him so much. Sonada was weak at that moment, not despairing with the short stature. He took her in her arm, surprising her a little as this saw her smiling like a fool. As he looked toward the bathroom, the door was open. Just had to walk with her in arm. After that, he stared at her down with the shower. That that's done. As he put the lid, tub fill as he entered to wash and shower. Taking the hose as pointing at the warm water, Naoki turn it on and get the excess dirt off his body first, as he felt like a reptile shedding his skin. Really, it was a pity gross, and it smelled too. The more he rubbed, the more dirt it came out. Looking down and seeing his little brother, how cute was the thought as he had his side. It's no wonder she doesn't take me seriously. Well, he was 11 years old, still had a time to grow up. How? She changed his clothes before she must have seen it. Fair enough, there was no way this can be taken seriously. Everything is fine. Yeah, and the big one, he wanted to scream, but for smile, nothing. Oh, she did instructions. Okay, Naoki, wash me too. The smell is killing me, yeah. She nodded. I'm almost getting excess dirt off me. After only a few minutes, he managed to get rid of a good chunk of it and went to help his sister clean up dirt as she picked up from his body as he wanted to lean on him earlier. On the floor below him, there was a yellowish oil, greasy patch kicking his foot, drawing the drain. He continued to wash his older sister's body with the hose. Tsunade handed him the liquid soap and sponge. Really, I need you to get right behind my back, she said, pulling away from him. Okay. Naoki stared at the soap. She started to stared to the soap in her back. Just touching her was sending electricity shock through his body. He felt he has got going through. Don't forget my she winked at him. There was an innocent and poison malice in her tone. Nawaki felt blush, rushed to his younger brother, not bearing Sunada's provocation. However, very adorable. He sighed again. Ha ha. Sunada laughed suddenly. Nawaki was confused. What is it? Nothing. Just remember something funny. The teasing voice made him even hotter. But again, he had to take a deep breath and control the mad urge to take down his older sister that was almost driving him crazy with lust. Doing what she asked, he started to wash her perfect round ass. It was simple, the juiciest, the most touchable ass he had ever had the opportunity to touch. But unfortunately, that was it. Well, he comforted himself by telling himself that it would be good training material. He rubbed the soap over her shapely ass and thighs, back at her legs, and climbed to the side of the stomach, reaching an incredibly huge breast for the first time. Tsunade moved, leaning against him as he ran his hand over them. Naughty boy, she patted his hand, causing his hand to leave her breast against his will. He didn't really try his luck again from the inherited memory. He knew if he went overboard, she wouldn't kill him. She might well leave him half dead as a punishment. After a few minutes of most pleasurable torture, since he transported into his body, Nawaki helped to get the form of her body, helped her into the full bath. Before he washed with the water, he stirred the soap in his body while being watched by Tsunade. It was strange. He wasn't just a child, but being stared by Tsunade felt little shy and being influenced by the memories of the former owner of this body. Otherwise, he saw no reason to feel shy in front of her gaze. Or MC was a player. Now the bathtub together. So now in the bathtub together. Are you going to tell me what happened to you, young man? Says, I'll be honest. Sitting at the opposite side, looking at her eyes, he said, I don't know what exactly happened. I still have a lot to process, but you have my word when I say, as soon as I know the answer, you'll be the first to know, okay? Surprised, her mouth open, but nothing came out. But as she laughed and laughed, she patted her thighs and said, okay, I'll wait for you at the moment. Just don't do that risky anymore. I was dying out of worry. I know, I'm sorry. He was sincere as he could be. Okay, it's okay, it's okay, she smiled. He returned the smile as he thought, I still don't know why I ended up in that strange place. I don't even know if I'll be able to return. Maybe because I was killed. Miss very rare chances. Well, whatever. It's only time could tell. Time could tell the answer. For the next few minutes, he continued to chat with his older sister. For he couldn't deny, as he looked often enough to the beautiful floating pair. Says, do you have a boyfriend? As he had no memory of having anything like that. Knowing that she had enough to have one or two boyfriend, he had his doubt. After all, there was no way she could not have any suitors. Only the world was crazy, and men were foolish enough to see such beauty. A rare shyness tingled in her face as she heard his question. It made Nawaki heart pounder. She has. No, 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 not at the moment. You know, although I don't lack suitors. She shook her full breast a little, creating a wave in the tub, and smiled, deepening as she continued to speak. Right now, I don't have any time for that bullshit wars broken out. Oh, true, a genuine spike on his lip. Sunada giggled as he looked at her little brother. Well, there are still parts that need to grow, I suppose. She smiled as she looked quick down, back into Naoki's eyes, but you could have achieved bringing such change. It wasn't just a case of increase her little brother's strength, but she also noticed his skin became more healthier, maybe smoother than a baby's skin. If she already thought he was adorable, now she thought his cuteness could easily make a lot of girl drool. However, I think he should exercise more and build some muscle. Or if he continues like this, he could be mistaken for a girl. Despite being a little mean, she still imagined her happening, and she could imagine it happening and laughing her mind in, but didn't let on. Are you sure you want to go to the gym? Should not ask again. You didn't sleep all night. If you want, you could stay one more day and rest tomorrow. You come back, I'll tell your sensei. Thank you, sis, but I'm fine. I don't feel tired or sleepy. I think you're the one who needs some sleep after all you have done for me. Okay, but if you feel bad, let your sensei know. Don't try too hard. I know. He waving his hand. Goodbye, sis. See you later. She kissed his forehead and she said goodbye. When he arrived at the Ninja Academy, first thing they asked why he was absent for many days. In response, he just said he wasn't feeling well, which isn't quite a lie. Nawaki looked at the direction of the student who started to rocking another dark hair student tied in a spiky ponytail. Shikaku woke up. Shikaku woke up. Sensei is coming. Alright, how troublesome. With a sleepy look, Shikaku rubbed his eyes and looked around as his eyes landed on Nawaki, as he should have, surprised but without any interest. Oh, you're back. The boy with bright blue eyes, spiky blonde hair, kept looking at him few times. Nawaki frowned. He could remember as from his memories, not a rival but close. Having nothing against the boy, he said, "Do you need anything, Minato?" Oh, that. He looked away. Seriously, it was a little weird. Not more than a second later, he looked back at Nawaki and said, "You look different." After saying that, he looked away again. Seriously, what's up with him? Nawaki shook his head and didn't want it to think about it really. In reality, Minato wasn't the only one who thought Nawaki had changed. Other students also glanced at the direction because he was from the Senju clan. Not everyone had the courage to approach him, although he had a cheerful and a good-natured boy. It doesn't mean those from the ordinary family would be comfortable talking to him. The few he was close to were in a main house. Shikako Nara is a good example, although he didn't talk much, not at least not in unimportant matters. He had very close to Nawaki. Chose Akamichi and Inuichi Yamanaka was very close friend of his, ignoring the fact others are uncomfortable wanting to talk to him. Nawaki noticed that many girls were paying more attention to him. This is because of my skin is more beautiful. Being from the Senjoku, he's a lot of attention before, but far from as he could remember. It was never that today. What was today? Nawaki doesn't deny that he had girls that caught attention to him were Mikoto Uchiha, not only a beauty but also a gentle and kind personality, of course. She wasn't the only one, there was another one. Their eyes met, but even her eyes met, she looked away with a blush on her cheek. Well, whatever. Entering the classroom, the sensei had noticed him and said with a smile, "Senju-sama, glad you recovered. Welcome back." "Thanks," Nawaki said politely. At the time, he heard some sound being shearing sound of tisk. Well, not wanting that he mind. Some hours later, Nawaki arrived home. Home sweet home, he hummed. Class were more boring than he thought. Even the practice class were also fizzle. Seriously, even without the rabbit was stronger than those other students. Remembering the boy came cocky, teasing him just wow. Not even able to take a hit as had a hit his ego. His ego was really big, really. Where did he get so much confidence anyway? Naoki stopped thinking as the carry a moment. As he walked through the gate of the Senju complex, both family here, lake and a wooden house gave him a sense of belonging. Maybe it's one of the places that only felt more comfortable with. Nawaki-sama welcome employees working at the Senju complex were greeting him as he passed. It would be nice if they stopped with that kind of formality. Well, I think it's something different. That's right. Entering his room, he lies on the bed with his arms open. As he thought he might turn into a sweet, he ran into his sweet dear older sister, but he didn't. She left. It was impossible, even though it seems to be quiet. The second ninja war was going on all through the large forms of each village. Still don't move on some quiet. If I were stronger, Nawaki muttered. Although it got stronger thanks to the red orbs, it was far enough. Perhaps he was already strong as some elite student, but without fighting them he wasn't sure. Time passes slowly the sky darkened. The fact that he hasn't slept before made him feel sleepy at the moment, having nothing to do. Even his older sister had to train him. Nawaki tried to sleep. When he opened his eyes, the familiar smell of grass and earth made him sit up. "I came back here." A glint of anticipation gleam in his green eyes. Looking around, he saw no sign of rabbit or any kind of animal. By the way, it looked like it was other time. As soon as I fell asleep, I showed up here. Nawaki didn't think it was just confidence. Standing up, slapping his clothes as his hands used the sensory technique. Sensing something, shadow clone jutsu, Nawaki said shadow clone jutsu, two identical to himself appear on Nawaki's left and right. Without having to say anything, the two clones moved first, while two showed. Even now, his stare was alert. He didn't want to die like he died last time, without knowing where he came from. Chapter 5. Unexpected Gain. Nawaki was feeling on the moon. He discovered the biggest chest Biggest just honest, he didn't have much as he came up with the idea, creating shadow clone, making the monsters to slay and harvesting the ore was just a wish he didn't expect to be we would fulfill. As much as the clone were part of him, Nawaki theorized the moment he become a clone, he becomes separate individual in the dimension. Well, he hasn't defined a name for now. The location for now he previously put the hunting dimension. Going back to the he was thinking, he didn't think the moment he was killing using clones still turn into the red orbs. Of course, it was invalid, since the clone would be treated as a part of his power, but he didn't expect it so much, as he would be able to take the orb and disappear in the clone hand. So, it was quite a discovery even now. He was getting stronger, able to create more shadow clone. I didn't expect to get that extreme point, making thousands of clone. But if I can make 10 without overloading myself, my hunt in this dimension will increase countless time. His eyes sparkled at the thought. Of course, to say it was flawless is a lie. The shadow clone, despite having a high offense, had very weak defense. Therefore, the idea was at least two shadow clone to walk together. If it killed but also died, another shadow clone could harvest the orbs. Thinking, he continued to use two shadow clone to hunt more rabbits. With his main body, he felt something approaching. Fuck, not even a wolf would be that tall. Naoki cursed as his bad luck was being found by a monster. Since deciding to fight, Naoki hasn't given much thought. His eyes focused as he needed chakra in his stomach. Preparing an attack, a faint white glow appeared on the surface of his body as he battle mode. As he saw the grim wolf approximately at 150 centimeter tall. He was a little scared, but now he was more defensive at an attack. Wind style wind great breach. Unlike before, the attack was much more powerful, 6 times more powerful than before. However, Nawaki couldn't sing a victory with the giant wolf seemed to be quick and dodged. What? Taken by surprise, Naokiran expected the Green Wolf's reaction time to be so amazing. Hand sealing. Nawaki created two more Shadow Clone. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Two Shadow Clone appeared to his sides. In peculiar way, where he look appear on the Green Wolves. Naoki made a hand seal bird, rabbit, horse, and goat made a wavy charge. As as which the wind began to combine to form a single large blade of air. He commented that the two clone which wanting the opportunity to unleash the jutsu. Soon as he sees and hears the sound surprising coming loose after he realized the fact, Futon. Tuzu- Tsuyu no Nami. Whoosh! Even faster, the attack he used earlier, the created wind blade was shot at an impressive speed toward the great wolf. Roar, roaring, the big green wolf leaped at the side with intent to jolt, without noticing the predatory smile curved in Nawaki's lip. Without even speaking, doing or something like yelling or dying. On his other side, on his shadow clone came, killing some rabbit, amusing the giant green wolf and jumping away. Boom. The shadow clone was powerful punch surrounded by his chakra in his hand, which was mere weaker version of his older sister attack style. However, it could not deny it was still powerful. It even went far from being a big green. The fierce roar with his eyes turning green like grass. He cursed as he saw his shadow clone falling, dodging, rambling. He was able to escape using substitution jutsu. His chakra pool increased after using 4 shadow clone at the same time. Good part of his chakra pool was used up, making hand seal as he created 2 more shadow clone. The good side shadow clone experience passed to him, so Naoki was able to think a better way to fight the green wolf. I'm almost certain it was one of the other way, the species that killed me before. Naoko was able to remember using the shadow clone to distract the big wind wolf. Lucky for him, Futon. The same attack. Using the more more chakra than before. The blade created by the wind was powerful. Boom! A smoke screen was raised. That attack was large. Green Wolf was sight, even killing the shadow clone in process. Panting, Nawaki was very worried. Didn't know if it was enough to kill the Green Wolf. The smoke screen cleared. The large-bodied Green Wolf came into the line of sight. Rising, the wolf was wanting to create more wind blade in his mouth. Nawaki thought fast as he ran high speed toward dodging the wind blade, which unlike before was weaker than he arrived. Paw, paw. With a clenched fist, he started to punch the green wolf. The sound of meat mashing together. The great green wolf roared helplessly in pain but couldn't get away as he's close to death. Without letting up, Nawaki continued to punching the green wolf as long as he didn't turn into ashes. He wouldn't stop. Die, 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 die. Nawaki has already lost count of how many punches he had thrown. Seriously, the vitality of this green wolf it was insane. Chum. He was almost. Sorry. What the fuck did I say? He was almost exhausted. Nawaki used most of his strength. On the next punch, the strength on his fist instantly struck the green wolf's defense as a terrifying bone-breaking sound responded from the green wolf's body. It was spat out blood mixed with the bits of internal organs. Roar. Letting out one last roar, the green wolf eye rolled back as it didn't take a long way, it turned grey. A long tired sigh escaped his mouth. If this went on a little longer, he didn't know how much we'll be able to go with it. That Naoki saw something different than before. When he killed the rabbit, the orb's deeper red light appeared. There seemed to be some expansion of energy chanting inside. They were likely evolved version of the damn red light orbs. There were also two pistol-sized purple spear of light. It was the first time he had seen such ore. Finally, he even strange of the transporter shell inside the green light. Soon, the green orb placed in his mental dimension. Naoki took the other orbs and I could see a different orb once left. I need to rest. Naoki got up painting for Nawaki. There was a time to stay inside. Luckily, he hunted many rabbits before the Shadow Clone managed to kill a powerful enemy, dropping the orbs you've seen in 53 red orbs from the bunny. Hee, I'll give a half to my big sister if she'll be. I bet she'll be happy. Well, whatever, she came back or not, it came that nothing could go. Anyway, I'm going to test these different orbs. I'm going to save and try one at a time. He sweated a lot, but he didn't know if he was going to expel those stinky things again. He preferred to use the first few orbs first. He continued to close his eyes and small dimensions inside his brain. As you see, 53 faint red orbs with a dimension four orbs with deeper red light, two pastel-sized purple light, and well as the strange glass orb. Getting a purple orb first. It was a little big. He didn't feel he feel a little scared. It would be a lie after all. He didn't know effect would be. Now he could close his eyes as he used his chakra to circulate. However, he found the orb purple light turned into some sort of cold energy that entered his forehead. Then he felt a mental power grow a little, made him open his eyes in shock. He was able to understand and benefit brought by increase his mental power. His mental power was already strong because of his soul, which merged with the former soul. Even so, he felt splinter grow using the purple orb. It was his mental power and mental power of an ordinary person would have grown a lot. After the cold energy passed, it made his brain very clear. Naoki quickly closed his eyes and thought about the shadow clone jutsu that he hadn't fully perfected. As he kept looking at his Indoquins trying to improve. The perfection of the Shadow Clone Jutsu was something that would be great benefit to him. Now he managed to feel more adept using Shadow Clone. While he finally came down after testing the Shadow Clone, he thought about the glass orbs. Naoki took the glass orb and began to study it. A green wind blew across the orb. Naoki could feel shiver at the air flowing into his hand. It was as if he was holding back the wind. Ultra was curious to know what it was. It was easier way to test it. So Naoki didn't care about at least ate the glass orbs like the other orbs. Immediately melted into blast of energy, driving the green wind through his body. Unlike the energy in other orbs, the blast of energy spread throughout his body like a drop of ink falling into the clean water. The light wind slowly spread through Nawaki's body. All kind of sudden thought impulse ran his mind, as he was in some kind of understanding state. At the same time, not wanting to understand it, it was similar to the wind style, but not quite the same. He suddenly opened his eyes and looked at the last faint purple orb. He quickly ate before closing his eyes more. This time his brain was weak, clear, and sudden thought impulses were spotted by Nawaki. His mind seemed to have become a gust of wind and melted into the air. He felt invisible nature of wind. The dark room Nawaki was sitting in the bed with a faint green light streaming across the surface of his body. If one looked carefully through, one would be see the light wind watering around. Even the purple orbs of he was able to understand. After a few hours of doing this, Nawaki opened his eyes again, his face calm. Green light could be seen flickering under his pupil. After a few minutes, his mouth twitched, seemed to unable to control his expression. As he seems to have something amazing, right? Without needing to say, make a seal in his hand, Aoki just reached his hand and a wind surrounded his hand. The wind seems to have become a part of him. This was the ability to control the wind seemed to have come naturally to him. With the thought, wind picked up. However, he learned a few, very little. Therefore, the wind control skill were not very strong. Maybe if I had more of those purple orbs. Before he thought as he regretted a little if it amazing discouraging after his achievement something amazing. A simple gesture of his hand could control the wind. It was different from before using the wind attack. Now it has something more. How to describe it? Yes, something like now a part of him. Nawaki excitedly played with his new wind control ability. After a few minutes, he finally stopped and heard a footstep. Automatically, he was on alert. It was in the middle of the night. There was no way he wouldn't be suspicious, controlling the wind in his orb shaped in his hand. Opened the bedroom door, but when he saw it was Nawaki suddenly leave. She smiled happily. Nawaki, she seemed surprised seeing him awake. It's already late. Couldn't you sleep? It's not that. Something amazing has happened. Something you want to know before. Remember, I kind of know the answer seriously, and a surprise came from her voice. Yes, would you like to come and listen? Yes, I really need it. The mission I did a little difficult. Sis, you must be tired now. How about I help you? Okay, I'll take advantage of you again. Not exactly direct to her to agree. He ended up selling the next word. What are you waiting for? Unlike before, this time Tsunade let him leather her back, not that complaining. As he washed as if she could feel her ass and tits like before. When they both in tub, she nudged his arm, making him look from milky breast to her eyes. Then, without her needing to speak, as he knew she wanted to know, first of all. Check this out. As an orb glowing faint red light appeared in his hand, raising an eyebrow. Tsunade was curious where the hell he got that orb from, but since it was so small, it wouldn't be hard to bring it with him. Then he handed the orb to her hand. Tsunade felt you gain a lot of rise of light, could catch her attention. Young Swan's sensation. Have you eaten this before? Yes, you're correct. It I swallowed 16 of these orbs. You had helped me. Makes sense. She didn't even need it to swallow to know she had a good amount of energy. The strangest thing, it was in chakra. She had it in her suspicious before. Now she's pretty sure. It's something like natural energy or even natural energy. No wonder it was so hard her other little brother would digest all that energy as expected. My little brother is a monster. As someone who is learning to use natural energy, she knew how difficult it was putting those thoughts aside. How did I get this? This is the hardest part to come to explain, but even the chance that she didn't believe him. It's not that I don't want to say, but I can explain. Just somehow show up in a different place 2 days ago, and this animal that plays like more like monsters. Are you okay? I mean, she was looking for if he was hurt or anything. Naoki was actually speechless. He understood that she was worried, but at least let him finish talking. Okay, well, he couldn't blame her. He was even touched to see where it was. By the way, sis, do you notice the energy you helped me refine didn't leave my body? Yes, I noticed. That was also surprising. She hoped it was somehow left, but not that. It was incredible to be true. Let me see. She places her hand on she as she plays. Calm down. Hmm. As I say, they were monsters in the separate dimension. Entirely, it was been caught in a genjutsu. Impossible. She was by his side all the time. There was no way such could happen. I know. I also thought the chances of happening were low, but I tried to understand. I fell asleep but woke up in a totally strange, different place. That when I come across a big 1 meter tall rabbit. As he noticed, she opened her mouth and said anything as he continued. I thought about killing and eating the white rabbit, and the adornment as the white rabbit seemed to be. However, after I killed it, the white rabbit turned its body into ashes, only left behind two of these orbs in the faint red light. Unbelievable. Tsunade was trying to process this information. Even with the knowledge she had, she came and can think of a place where the summoning animal lived, but there were no report of something strange as dying and leaving energy orbs behind. As she did continue to species of the way made the summoned animal use in Asha energy, but again, she couldn't think of that until it turned into energy orbs, seeing how thoughtful and fawning constantly Nawaki who initially was going to tell her that if he died in the dimension he would really die. He wouldn't really die now. Rethinking the thought, the best not to speak, at least not now. Okay, one few minutes later she came. Is okay if I solve this thing? Yes, I have over 50 of them. I thought I would share it with you. Okay, I'll test it out and see if it's safe. She internally wanted to argue something so good should we stay with him, but seeing that look on his eyes, she knew couldn't change his mind. So if I get stronger, I can protect him even more. Although she still has her grandmother Mito, she knew that she wouldn't be among them after that. It would be just her and him. It was for her to her adorable little brother. She was willing to do anything. Resolving her resolve that she swallowed. As she saw the orbs, she closed her eyes. She didn't even take 2 minutes before she opened as it wasn't exactly drop in the ocean, but since she didn't was very strong, I needed a 2 minute break. I was able to consume the energy. That's a good thing. Nawaki, this needs to be kept secret between the two of us, promise me. Says, do you have to be that serious? Nawaki, promise me you wouldn't tell anyone. Now guys, you see I'm getting a little bit tired, so this is we are gonna left